What is going on, everybody? We are back for another episode of the CC Podcast. We are glad you are here with us today. This is episode number 14 with my main man, my main squeeze, Jacob Allen Nielsen.
What's up, Young Bloods? You know what I mean? The album drops tomorrow. We're on Spotify. We're on iTunes. We're on SoundCloud. We got beats that slap your grandma's knees. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, what is going on? It is Jacob Allen Nielsen, high school pastor at Bethany Church. Excited that you guys are here with us today for the CC Podcast. We got some brand new things for you guys today. Brand new topics of conversation that I'm excited about. Number one, top 5 fast. Okay, top 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do we got? Next step, next conversation. A little bit more of like an ambiguous sort of feel, but like what in your faith or what moments in your faith like really shifted your point of view towards Jesus or towards God? Like how did your relationship change because of this one moment that you had, whether that was like a camp experience or a specific teacher or something, maybe a small group leader or a mentor that you've had that was like, oh my gosh, I thought of this way for the longest time, but now you're telling me something totally different, or now I'm seeing it brand new. So once again, sort of an ambiguous topic, but that's kind of where we're going. You know what I'm saying?
Cool. Let's
and
go.
hopefully it makes sense to the listeners as we're going through and talking about it.
Well, you cut out at the very beginning when you were explaining our first thing we were going to talk about, which is our top 5 fast food restaurants, top 5 places to go. I'll start us out because I'm pumped up. I'm going to first just list my top 5. I'm not going to go in any order. So I'm just going to go off the top of the dome. And then I need more time to think about the order, okay? So back up. Okay. We got Chick-fil-A. We got Raising Cane's. We have Chipotle. We have Taco Bell. And we have the 4th one. Or the 5th one is...
What's the 5th one for you?
This is hard.
Oh, gosh, dude.
Panda.
Panda Express?
Panda, like the song.
You're going to hit me with... Okay, so I'll say my top 5. I do have an order because I listen to the rules. But I'll let you think about your top 5. So number 1, I think right now, and this shifts, you know what I mean? This isn't just something that stays the same all the time, but I'd say right now, Chick-fil-A, number 1. Second up, the Mac, dude. I love McDonald's, bro. Hit me with McDouble, hit me with a 10-piece, hit me with the fries any time of the day. Their Sprite, it hits different. Their morning breakfast, the morning breakfast, bro? You can't tell me you're not eating a sausage egg McMuffin for breakfast and you're not putting a smile on your stupid face. What about a McGriddle, bro? What about a McFlurry? You know what I'm saying? Best soft serve on the planet. That's why it's number 2. Haters are going to hate. Sure, they did that Super Size Me. That guy was super unhealthy after it. But guess what, idiots? Don't eat McDonald's for 30 days in a row. Maybe don't get a super size. Maybe get a regular small. It's okay to get a small. You know what I'm saying? But watch yourself. Everything's okay in moderation. Tell that to my waistline. You know what I'm saying? Okay, anyways. Because I know there's going to be haters who are going to be like, McDonald's sucks. So that's why I had to back it up so much. So Chick-fil-A, McDonald's. Then I'll go Del Taco. I love Del Taco.
I hate Del Taco.
Really?
I don't like it.
Dude, have you had their grilled chicken soft tacos?
No, I don't go there because I don't like it.
Oh, you're just
keep going.
Foolish. Then I'd probably go then Carl's Jr. I love CJ's. Their burgers,
unbelievable.
Dude, they're charbroiled, bro.
So dumb.
Their meat is unmatched. Maybe In-N-Out, but their meat is unmatched, bro. It just tastes homemade, tastes fresh off the little grill pad, whatever they got going. And then 5th would be Chipotle as well.
For sure.
It's just so good.
Well, that's good, man. I love that for you. That's bad, though. 3 of them are just like terrible.
That's not true. You like Taco Bell, bro. That's instant diarrhea.
I don't get diarrhea. I got an iron gut. Okay.
Dude, Taco Bell is a wild
Shut up.
choice.
Stop talking. My turn.
This is Taco Bell. They're just like, let's throw nacho cheese on everything and it's gonna be good. That's my thought. That's what Taco Bell.
Okay, whatever. You hate Taco Bell and Tyler Gilly, so whatever.
I do love Tyler Gilly, but I'm not a fan.
You hate his Taco Bell love.
Right.
Okay. So my order would be Chick-fil-A number 1.
So at least we agree with that.
Yeah. Chick-fil-A number 1 for sure. I'm going probably Chipotle number 2.
Wait, what's number 2?
Chipotle number 2.
Chipotle. Okay.
Number 3, I'm probably gonna go with Panda Express.
Oh, what's your order at Panda? What do you get usually?
Normally just double orange chicken with some chow mein and fried rice.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna go with Raising Cane's and then Taco Bell.
Okay. Oh gosh, Taco Bell is just Raising Cane's is good.
Taco Bell is I feel like middle of the night trash food. I'm going to Taco Bell. Okay. I'm not going to Taco Bell for lunch at work. I'm not doing that. Like, I can't do that midday. I'm talking, It's 11:30 at night, and I'm feeling like some yummy bad food. I'm going to Taco Bell.
Gotcha.
But like all the others, I'll eat at lunch for like real food.
Yeah. Chipotle, you know I mean? Chick-fil-A, Panda, and then Raising Cane's. Raising Cane's and Chick-fil-A, that's interesting because I feel like most people would put those in like you're either for one or for the other. So it's interesting those are both in your top 5.
I go to them for different purposes. I'm going to Chick-fil-A for the sandwich because I like a good chicken sandwich.
Okay.
And I'm going to Raising Cane's if I want some chicken fingers.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
you don't like
that's my job.
Do you think the nuggets and the chicken tenders taste different at Chick-fil-A? Do they taste different? Have you ever noticed?
I've never had the chicken tenders at Chick-fil-A.
Okay. We have to do a side-by-side comparison.
I think that the chicken nuggets taste different than their fried chicken on the sandwich.
Okay.
I think the fried chicken on the sandwich is way better.
This is whenever we're able to meet, this is what we need to do. We need to go to Chick-fil-A. Okay. Actually, I'll go to Chick-fil-A. You stay back at the office. You blindfold yourself. Okay. Then I come in, 3 pieces of chicken, all from Chick-fil-A, but one from the sandwich, one from the tenders, and one from the nugs. And, obviously I'll have to cut it in a good way so that it doesn't, you could tell a nugget's a nugget. Yeah. And but in a strip is a strip, but, I'd have to cut it to make sure it would be all kind of similar bites.
Feed it to me.
Yeah. And then see if you can guess which one's which. Would you be down for that?
I'm 100% down for that. I'm down for food.
Okay. All right. Well, do you think you'd go 3 for 3?
I do. I honestly do. I think I could.
What's the bet?
Whoever pays for it.
No. You got to call me. You got to call me Papa for a month,
dude.
For 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, you call me Papa.
I'm game for that. I honestly kind of like that. Make it 3.
3? Okay. And then do you want to do the same for you?
Just call me Beautiful.
Okay. Beautiful.
Like, hey, Beautiful.
I love this. I don't think you have to call me
Bro,
Papa for 3 weeks.
I pray that we do this like right before we preach together on stage in December. Dude, you're like, what do you got for me, Beautiful?
Oh, dude. And
I feel like we can put a pause.
I would love that. For those of you that don't know, we have the entire year marked off of when we're preaching and all that stuff. So at the very last Sunday, I think of this year, it's December 27th or 29th?
Yep, 27th.
27th. Mike and I are going to be doing a double sermon. I don't know, a duo sermon? What do you call that?
Duet sermon?
Duet. Oh, maybe we're doing it sermon. What? Okay. Anyways, so we're doing a double sermon December 27th. Make sure you mark it on your calendars. Show up to Bethany. We're going to go back to back. It's going to be sick. We're going to preach some hot fire. And I'm stoked for it. It'll be good. The last Sunday of the year. Anyways.
Last Sunday of the year. Be a party. Show
I'm
up
hyped.
or show out. Be there or come to the church.
There you go.
Okay. What's the other topic that we're talking about?
Dude, you're trash, bro. Okay, any moments in your life that you can recognize as like a faith-changing moment, right? Like just brand new topic, brand new idea, just a thought that pops into your brain, an experience. Ready, set, go. What's your first one?
You froze again because I think your Wi-Fi's trash, not mine.
It's not
but
true.
I've got a couple things that come to mind. I think the first, gosh, this is hard actually. This is hard. I thought I had this.
Oh no.
Okay, I'll tell the one that I can tell off the top of my head. It wasn't like a church moment. It wasn't like a pastor saying something to me moment, or like a leader saying something to me moment. I've shared this story with a decent amount of our students, but when I was in college, my freshman year, I made a lot of really terrible decisions, just living life, doing stupid things, right?
Yeah.
And I was going back for my sophomore year, and I had been living not in the way I should as a Christ follower. I was really, really far from the Lord, drinking a lot, smoking a lot, doing things with girls that I shouldn't have been doing, all that kind of stuff. And I got back for my freshman year and or for my sophomore year, and I ran into someone that I had been making a lot of really poor decisions with the year before. And I remember being at a point in my life where it was like almost, I don't know if I hit rock bottom, but I was like at a pretty close rock bottom moment in my life. And I remember running into this person, and she had given her life to the Lord the summer before, or sorry, that summer.
Okay.
And so we had partied together, done a lot of stupid things, like just living in sin. And she had given her life to the Lord over the summer. And I remember running into her and like being pumped to see her or whatever. And she was packing up her things to go into the mission field. And I just remember a conversation that we had before she left. She just came up to me, not knowing what it is I was going through, not knowing my situation. And she just came up to me. And it was one of these things where I'm like, I don't know why she even said this to me. I really think it was God using her as an ambassador for him, just speaking through her to me, of just saying like, because she said, I don't know what it is you're going through right now, but you need to go deal with your life in the Lord right now.
Right.
And I just started to weep. And I just remember feeling like at awe of like God being in such control to be able to like, because I honestly believe that the Lord like spoke through her to speak to me. And I think that God uses people like that all the time. And that was just a huge turning point for me. Like literally like I never looked back type of moment in my life that led me into the season that the Lord called me into ministry. That led me into being able to have freedom over addiction, being able to have freedom over depression and all of those sorts of things. And so, like, it wasn't like, I tell this to the students all the time, the biggest moments in my life haven't been what the pastor said on Sunday or whatever. Like, I don't hardly remember those things. It's more of these like daily encounters that have kind of spoken to me over the years. And that would be, I would say, the biggest moment in my life. That was the biggest turning point for me.
And that's super interesting and like really good and necessary, you know, for students to realize too, because you're right, it's not always like what the pastor says, but it's putting yourself in circumstances to be able to even have conversations about Jesus, or like, you know, because the two moments that I can think of, it's like, okay, I went to a camp, but it wasn't the camp speaker that said something, you know, or I went on a missions trip and it wasn't somebody saying something in particular to me. And so, I think, you know, students and all of us just need to realize, like, you just, number one, need to be open to any conversation that God can be putting on your heart, or God, you know, specifically was sending you this girl that you knew for a long time to you specifically. So being able to be open to those conversations and putting yourself in situations where you would just be able to experience
Yeah. Yeah.
not do anything, you're not going to experience God in that way. So I think that's really cool. I think that's super helpful for students to be able to realize too.
Yeah. What
It's
about
really
you,
good.
bro?
That's hyped. One of the moments that I thought of, went to a college briefing. This was the first. I gave my life to Christ. I think it was in May or something at this point, and then started going to Bethany, and got connected to Dave Darjani. He was the college pastor at the time, and he was like, "Hey, would you want to go to college briefing with us?" And I'm like, "What is that?" It's basically like a summer camp, but for college students. It was over a weekend. I think it was a Friday through a Monday. And so we went up to Forest Home, which is right up the same way we go up to winter camp. You pass by Forest Home. And so we were going up there. Mike Erie was the person who was speaking. Have you heard of Mike Erie?
I feel like I've heard that name.
Okay. Yeah. He was at EV Free Fullerton, which is a bigger church out in Fullerton. I think, I'm pretty sure. He's a little bit more liberal in his theology now, but anyways, super good, charismatic speaker. Like the dude wore flip-flops, a baggy t-shirt, and like basketball shorts on stage. And it's just like kind of like an overweight bald dude. So like very like down to earth. He would like come down off the stage and walk down the aisles and just like just preaching. And it was super cool. And he was like calling people out, making people raise their hands, and having people talk. It was very like energy, like there was a lot of energy. It was really cool. So anyways, but it was nothing he said specifically, because he was a great speaker. But there was this moment where I think it was a gospel presentation, or maybe it was a day after the gospel presentation, and we were in a group, in a circle, just talking about our lives and how God like has influenced everybody, and everybody was sharing, and like a ton of people were crying. And it was just like this moment where I was like, oh my gosh, like God is real, like he is. People sharing these amazing like experiences that they were having with Jesus. And like at that moment, it was like this, I had a personal connection with Jesus, but I didn't have this community aspect of people sharing in that. And so like it started to rework in my mind. I'm like, oh my God, like God has moments like that with everyone, like how big he is, you know what I mean? And like giant he is, and having those relationships and those conversations. So like that was something that was super powerful for me, was just like being able to hear people's stories about how God has like affected them. I'm like, wow, we have a God that is like so much bigger than I can think of. Cool. And so, I remember very specifically, it was one of those, and I went on a whim. It was like, I didn't know half the people that were in the college ministry. It was just like, I want to go and learn more about Jesus. So
that's so
cool. It was really sweet. But college briefing.
That's awesome. With Dave Darjani, bro.
Dave Dar.
I love that. That's so good.
It was such a fun camp. But anyway.
Awesome. Yeah, I thought of my other thing. When I was in high school, I remember it was either my freshman either my sophomore or junior year. I was going to a youth ministry in Puyallup, and I remember there was one Sunday night that the youth pastor, he said to me, or he said in a message, he's like, hey, if you guys are serious about like being a leader in the faith, like maybe you want to go into ministry, that sort of thing. If like you really want to take this seriously, he goes, I'm starting a Bible study every Friday morning at 5:30 a.m. at Starbucks, and show up if you want to take this thing seriously.
Yeah.
And I remember just wanting to go, right? So I go, and I show up, me and my buddy, and I get there, and there was probably like 6 of us, which is crazy because the youth ministry I went to was like 250 to like 400 people, like every single Sunday night for high schoolers, right?
Right.
And there was like 6 of us that showed up 5:30 a.m., dude, on a Friday morning at Starbucks.
That's crazy.
I don't remember what we talked about, whatever, but I remember afterwards I was just sitting at the Starbucks. I would go to Starbucks quite a bit and read my Bible, that sort of devotional thing. And I remember he came up to me afterwards. He's like, hey man, I'm going to this like conference tomorrow. Do you want to come with me? I was like, yeah, sure, sick, whatever. He goes, I'll meet me at the Starbucks at this certain time, like 9 o'clock, and come with me. And I show up, and he picks me up with another guy, a guy named Mark. And we go to this conference that he's speaking at. And I didn't know what the heck I was getting myself into. I was just in the back of a car. I remember we listened to Justin Bieber in the car because Justin Bieber was whatever.
That's
And
hilarious.
we were listening to Justin Bieber and going to the thing. And I remember after he spoke, he came up to me, he came down, and he goes, I'm about to go up there and I'm going to send you and Mark out into the congregation to start praying for people. And I was just like, I was completely like, I'm a high school kid. I was around a bunch of high school kids,
Right.
Speaking to, and him just saying like, no, you're going to lead right now. You're going to pray for people. Like, you are capable. You have the Holy Spirit. Like, you can pray for people right now. And I just remember that moment very distinctly of like, God can use young people to impact the world.
Yeah.
Just like him believing in me as a leader, even before he knew me that well or anything like that. I just remember, I don't even know how to describe it, but it just like gave me confidence to be able to pray for people, gave me confidence to be able to share my faith with people and those sorts of things. And it's funny, he now is super popular and like has a big church in LA and that sort of thing. But even the guy that was with me, who was an intern at the church at that time, he's the guy that ended up marrying Hannah and I and stuff. So there was just like something about like that day. And like, that's the first time I met that guy that ended up marrying stuff, where it was like a ministry, like win of like pointing me and got me thinking about what it would be like to be in ministry. Even though I didn't really decide to until later, the Lord didn't really call me until later. But just like believing in me to lead and pray for people and do those sorts of things was just like when I felt like I had zero experience or ability to do those things, was just really, really cool.
Yeah, that's so rad. That's so cool. Like, just being willing to like step up and to, like a leader, seeing students that are young that maybe they don't know anything about, or like just see something in somebody that's just so good to be able to call out their leadership qualities and being able to present them with like, dude, you're doing the right thing. Like, keep stepping up into this role and like God's going to do amazing things. Like, I even think about like Sabrina in her junior high, when she was in junior high, she was like super awkward, didn't talk much, you know, like whatever. And she had a pastor at the time, his name's Mark South, that like just called her and was like, hey, you want to be on student leadership, and got her on the team. And then was like, oh, well, do you want to do announcements? And like threw her up on announcements, and was like, she was somebody that didn't talk at all and didn't have friends in that, you know, had a couple close people, but like not super outgoing, and she killed it. And, you know, there was this like idea of like seeing something in somebody and calling it out and being like, you're going to do this. And then, you know, has built her confidence to be able to share and be more outgoing and talk. So like those minor moments, you know, us as leaders, more of an impact that we could ever realize, I think, in moments like that. So I think it's so cool. I think it's so
That's
cool.
Awesome. I love that.
How do you feel like you've worked that into your ministry?
I think it's interesting. I look for those moments, and I feel like there's two students. I mean, I won't even say their names because I don't want to offend students that I don't share.
Right. I think I know the, yeah.
But there's two students that I think of specifically that I've had conversations with where I'm like, I can like see you doing ministry someday. And they're like, what? And I'm just like, I don't know what it is. I just, number one, I see leadership qualities in you. And I just have this sense like you have a heart for people, and that God can use you for his glory in ministry, whatever that looks like. And I think it's just something that I try to intentionally look for, is like, I want to look for like the kid that could be the youth pastor. You know what I mean? And I think that's just something for me, that moment solidified in my heart as something that's an important thing as a leader, is to call people up into those things, which I felt like he did super well as a youth pastor, and something that I want to do as a youth pastor. And not to say that I do it perfectly, and I think I can do a better job, but I think it's just it gives so much confidence also to the kid, especially like when it's genuine. You don't just throw it out to throw it out, but like, no, I really see something in you And I want to see how God's going to use you um, in the future,
It's great.
and even now. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's super rad. That's super rad. Yeah, so I think about my, my last experience, and we'll after this story, we'll kind of wrap up and close it out. But it was my first missions trip. I went to Ecuador. I think, at this point, like I was following Jesus for like a year and a half. And the high school ministry went to Ecuador before or 2 years before, and I heard about the stories, and I was like, okay, I want to go do that. That seems like fun. And so I went wet behind the freaking ears, had no idea what I was getting myself into. Basically, we worked with an organization down there that got us connected with a orphanage. Then we went to the orphanage, and like, what did we do? We did like VBS, we cleaned up, and there was just like this moment of realizing just like how good I have it here in California. And like, there was a lot of wrestling of like, why did God put me in California, where, in the United States, where I have more than I need. And like, I'm not fighting or struggling with hunger
yeah,
or like poverty in general. And not saying people don't experience that here in the United States.
yeah,
That's a reality. But like, there's people that don't even have running water and all of these things, and seeing the joy that they had in their life, and just the like dependence on God that they had, was just something that I've never seen before. You know what I mean? Because like people in the United States, we feel like, or a lot of people, I would ourselves to like get by. But like what I've noticed going into like third world countries is like they have a realization, like if it doesn't rain that year, they're screwed.
yeah,
They don't have crops to live off
yeah,
of. And
yeah,
like the full dependence on God bringing just rain for them, you
yeah,
know? And like we were in a
yeah,
drought where we couldn't take as long as showers, and people were complaining. But like people out there were like praising God that any sort of rain comes for them to be able to grow stupid tomatoes so that they can feed their families.
yeah,
And so like there's been so many moments like that where I realize I have it so good. And like, because we live in the United States, we need to be overly giving and loving of people that live outside, and like giving necessary funds or food and shipping those things out to be able to help other countries that are just generally in need. So
yeah,
there was this like realization of like, what am I doing? Am I doing anything to help globally? And then once again, God blowing my mind of like, God's not only working in California, in SoCal, but also in freaking Ecuador and the Random Hills, or all the way out in Kenya. And so there's just like, it just keeps like expanding my mind of like, he's so much bigger than I think, because sometimes I could just contextualize like, he's right here, he's only with me, but he's literally everywhere, which is wild to think about. So
yeah. I
just,
love
yeah,
that.
yeah,
I love just how that moment for you is just like a perspective moment.
yeah,
Like I think so many times I can think back to so many times in my life where um, I've looked back and all of a sudden I felt like I had perspective on things, and it's allowed
right,
me to live um, a life that is bringing more glory and honor to God.
yeah,
And I just like, I think about that moment for you. I think about, I played baseball when I was 12 years old in the Dominican Republic. And
yeah,
like,
oh yeah,
it wasn't even like a missions trip type of thing, but I can still look back to those moments, and it just gives you so much more perspective on life, going to different
yeah,
places, seeing different things, talking to different people, and like seeing how big God truly is.
yeah,
Which then makes me feel even more like love, knowing that he hears me
yeah,
individually as well, because I think sometimes it's, for our students, it's like, oh, he doesn't answer my prayers, or I don't hear from him, whatever. And you feel
yeah,
like he's not there. But their view of God sometimes is like Bethany Church, the herd, sometimes winter
totally,
camp when high school comes. But
yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's just so much bigger. And to
so
know like
much,
that he is so like vastly involved in
right,
everything that's going on, but also so intentionally involved in what's going on personally.
yeah,
I think just having that perspective is so helpful in
yeah.
walking with the Lord.
Yep. I think I remember there's a very specific moment in Ecuador when we were out in, so there was like Quito, which is like the capital city. It's very city-esque, whatever. Like there's like Starbucks, all that stuff. Then you go into the outskirts. That's where we went to the orphanage on the outskirts of Quito. But then we went to Gualsaki, which is like out in the hills. And so there was this pastor named Pastor Luis, this like 5'3", small looking dude. They have like these funny little hats that they all wear or whatever. And so I remember being inside of the church that we were going to be working on for that week. And Pastor Luis was praying. It was our very first prayer. Like we all circled up inside of the church to start praying. The dude was like so passionate in his prayer. And you could totally tell it was the Holy Spirit interceding, because I didn't know a freaking word this fool was saying, but like brought to tears just by like the rhythm and the just the expression. Dude genuinely loves Jesus. Like he wants us just to be, he's so thankful that we're here, and that we're just a part of him and his church and doing the things that we were doing. And I just remember like the Holy Spirit was working in such a powerful way of like, dude, like look at this guy's love and passion for Jesus, and look to that. And you don't even know what the freak he's saying, but you could just feel it. You know what I mean? Like there's a different energy. Yeah. And so it was really cool. But that was just, something that also just popped into my brain when we were talking. But that's super good. So good. Love this. So as always, love these conversations.
Love them.
It brings me a joy that I forget I have for ministry sometimes, that we're locked in freaking COVID. You know what I'm saying? Like obviously I love my ministry and love my students, but I think these conversations really bring back an anchor of like why we're doing what we're doing. For sure. Wanting students to be able to share an experience is similar to what we've experienced, you know? Yeah. Obviously we're different people and we're going to have different things, but like I want students to be able to have this where they go to like a missions trip or conversations that they've had like blow their minds. So this is good.
That's awesome. Yeah. So good. I love you. I love the students. I can't wait to be together, man. I do all this planning for next year and I'm just excited, but I'm also like, okay, let's just pray it happens. Like, let's just let us be together. That's just all my planning just needs to be like, let's just plan that we can be together. How about that?
For sure.
And then figure out events after. But cool. We love you guys. We will talk to you later. Until next time, deuces. CC Podcast. Bye.